Hello. Let me just check my settings here, make sure that everything is working correctly. My speaker's working, etc., etc., etc. I know I'm a little bit late tonight because usually we broadcast these episodes every Friday night at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But tonight we are starting at 6:45. And we actually do have a topic tonight, which was um slightly suggested, but also slightly a little bit different than I expected. So, what we're going to be doing tonight is revisiting a deck that I never properly gave an unboxing to, and kind of doing a I guess revisitation. You can't really call it an unboxing episode, but it is kind of an unboxing, but at the same time it's not like a new to me deck, but it is a deck that I've had for quite a while and I just haven't touched it in a while. So I figured, you know, while I'm in the process of gathering together my tarot deck collection, to go through some of my tarot collection and highlight one of the decks, possibly each week, possibly every other week. But as you all know, we do this every Friday night, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on most nights. So actually, let me go ahead and put that crawler up just to remind people that it's mostly every Friday night, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I also want to quickly make one of our intro videos here, but it's not an unboxing. So, oops, I deleted something that I shouldn't have deleted there. Let's see. So you're going to hear me just kind of be quiet for a minute or so, so that I can quickly create our intro video for this. Let's see. I mean, I can always show the process behind the scenes, but I'd rather not do that because it's not pretty. It's just not pretty. Let's see. Elements. I just need a nice banner. That'll work. Make that a little bit. Oh, I don't want to cut that out. Make that a little bit smaller though. Let's put some text over that. And let's make it a different, bigger font. Just a rounded square. I don't want it. Let's just cover that right up. And that can come forward. Bring forward. And let's put a little bit of text here. Nope. Damn, it is hard to type when I can't see what I'm typing. There we go. Reset. Steampunk Tarot. Bye. That'll work. take that out. And let's put something tarot related over that. Yeah. That works. Okay. Let me download that and see if I can download that. All right. So Katie is here. I have to head off to another meeting, but I will be back to check this out later. Awesome, Katie. Nice to see you for however short amount of time. So now that that's downloading, thank you all for your patience. Oh my goodness, it is slowed to a crawl. I'm not even going to look at it. I'm just going to try and close out some of these, some of this stuff in here while I'm waiting. And actually, while I'm waiting for that to download, I might as well start with the AstroBiz Digest. So just to let all of you know, we do have a normal agenda for this live stream that happens every Friday night. And that is, we start off with astrology from Teresa Reed's wonderful AstroBiz Digest. We then move into the topic of the episode. So tonight, I think I might have quietly alluded to it, speaking out loud while I was trying to create the intro video, but we are revisiting the Steampunk Tarot by Barbara Moore with artwork by Ali Fell. We will at some point break for the mid-episode reading, and most likely I will be doing the mid-episode reading with the Steampunk Tarot to show you basically how it works. And then at the end of the episode, we will wrap up with the weekend forecast, which is either a one-card pull from a tarot deck or from a oracle deck. So if that sounds good to you, go ahead and say so in the chat and let me know. And also let me know if you are ready for the astrology for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Because I think it's been a busy week, and it's a busy weekend because we do have the full moon happening tomorrow, and I believe it's a full moon in Sagittarius. So there's a lot of fire energy going on this weekend. And also you can read it in the description too, that it's revisiting the Steampunk Tarot. I did make sure that I filled out a full description, and the name of the episode is Revisiting the Steampunk Tarot deck. So, and hopefully I didn't do that with too much haste, but haste makes waste, or you can do something, you can get something done fast or done right, but oftentimes you can't have both. So there might be a couple of typos in there, hopefully not too many. Oh, good. All right, well, that's downloaded. So let me go ahead and play the intro. Might as well play the intro first. So, and then I'll do my introductions of who I am and why you should be listening to me. All right. Upload that. All right. Looking good. Be right back in about 28 seconds. All right. I will admit that that blast bumper window was put together rather hastily. So please forgive me for the messiness of that intro. I will do better next time around. All right. So, for those of you who don't know who I am, welcome, welcome, welcome to another episode of Tarot by Hilary Live. I'm your hostess with the mostest, Hilary of tarotbyhilary.com, professional tarot reader and EFT tapping practitioner, demystifying the mystical and putting you in touch with the most beautiful of gifts, but not most beautiful, blah, 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 of gifts, your own intuition. Because yes, my friends, do not argue with me. You have intuition. Everybody, I believe everybody has intuition. And I like to connect to my intuition and the intuition of my clients with the magic and the power of the tool of tarot. So for this week's episode, in this episode, we are revisiting quasi unboxing, but more so revisiting a tarot deck in my tarot deck collection, the Steampunk Tarot by Barbara Moore and Ali Fell. So originally I was going to do a different episode or a different topic for tonight's episode. And it was a really great suggestion by Mr. Tarot by Hilary. But then I thought, if we were to do it, I would have to gather up more decks, and I have to put my hands on my decks to be able to execute that particular episode that he was suggesting I do. It's still a great suggestion for an episode. I'm not going to say what it is yet because I'd rather you guys be surprised with the episode. So maybe next week we'll do that episode. It depends on whether or not I will be able to be here for next week's episode. But as I said before, most episodes are Friday night, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're just happen to be starting a little bit later tonight. And also, I do want to encourage everyone to stick around because, as I said before the intro video, I do something in the middle of every episode, most every episode, called the mid-episode reading, in which it is a contest, and the lottery jar will select one lucky participant that is live in here to get a free 3-card reading live on the episode. So if that's interesting to you, stay tuned. Stay tuned to be considered for a live tarot reading. It doesn't automatically guarantee you for one, but you can be in the running to win one. Also, what I'm going to do is pull up the comment snake and have that tool around a little bit before we pull out the lottery jar for the mid-episode reading. So if all of that sounds interesting to you and fun for you, please go ahead and say so in the chat. But let us start off with our Astro Biz Digest. So the Astro Biz Digest is Teresa Reed's, aka the Tarot Lady. It is $99 for a year-long subscription, in which you get astrology in layman's terms straight to your email inbox. It is well worth it. It is geared towards entrepreneurs and business owners, but I have found it to be incredibly helpful in planning my personal life as well. Now, yes, I am a business owner, tarotbyhilary.com, and I am a tapping practitioner, which is also a part of my other business. And I do consider myself a business owner and entrepreneur. So yes, I do use astrology for planning. Specifically, I really like to use astrology for planning on when I'm going to be doing email readings, because email readings I do outside of my calendar for live readings. Now for readings, I can usually meet in person, depending on whether or not that person is in my geographic area. I can do phone readings, I can do Skype readings, I can do Zoom readings. So that is like a one-to-one option there, where the participation is happening like I'm reading for you in real time. Now for my email readings, that is outside of my appointment calendar, but it works really well for people that may be in a different time zone to me, or our time zones don't match up. Then again, there is one of my regular clients who lives in Riyadh, that is a 12-hour time difference, time zone difference between myself on the East Coast of the United States and her in Riyadh. And yet she still insists on having her live readings with me. And so she will go the extra mile, and she will actually have a reading with me at 2 a.m. her time. So, like there's that dedication there, which I love to see. Like that's shocking to me that I have people that I read for like in Riyadh or in New Zealand or in Australia, that it's just like a completely different time zone. That they're just like, no, I understand that you do email readings outside of you know, the the live readings, but like I prefer have getting up at 2 a.m. and having the reading with you, and then I'll go to sleep. And I'm just like, okay, whatever floats your boat. But for those of you who don't have that dedication and prefer to get your readings emailed to you, email options are available as well. And I do use the astrology to determine when I should be doing those email readings that are outside of my online scheduler, basically. So sometimes I will look and see, oh, full moon in Sagittarius, and I have 3 email readings on the docket. Maybe I should use the energy of the full moon in Sagittarius to do these particular readings. Or maybe I see that it's a void of chorus moon, which is typically not a time where you want to do anything because you'll usually end up having to redo something. So in general, I will avoid doing readings or email readings on a void of chorus moon day. So you can see how having astrology in your inbox can be very helpful to planning your business, and it also can be very helpful to planning your personal life. So this is the reason why I tout the AstroBiz Digest at the top of every episode that I do on these Friday night live streams. And this is also the reason why I will give the general transits and then the specifics for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, because I don't want to give away the farm. I really want to encourage you to get yourself a copy of the AstroBiz Digest for yourself. I want to be able to promote Teresa Reed's work and not take away from her work. So I would really strongly consider getting a copy of the AstroBiz Digest for yourself. And you can do so at thetarotlady.com/AstroBiz Digest. That link is in the chat. Don't click on it now. Wait until the episode is over and then go ahead, click on it, get yourself a copy of the AstroBiz Digest for yourself. All right, let us get into the astrology from the AstroBiz Digest. All right, let me go ahead and hide that and bring this up. All right, let's go. Like I know off the top of my head, I know it's a full moon in Sagittarius tomorrow. So I know we're already running under that full moon energy. But let us get more specific than that. All right, so weekly forecast, May 29th through June 4th. Some of the tension from the past few weeks is easing up. This week brings a few bumps in the road, but compared to what we've gone through previously, it's easy as Sunday morning. This week, there is one fab lunation to watch, the full moon in Sagittarius on the 3rd. So that would be Saturday, June 3rd. That would be tomorrow at the time of this broadcast. It's groovy for traveling, both for business and pleasure. Plus, it's a truth-telling moon. You may receive important information or be ready for a come-to-Jesus moment with a client, employee, or business partner. My advice, speak your mind, then hit the road for some adventure. So that is the big lunation. That's the big transit that is happening this weekend. Now let's get into the details for Friday. Friday, June 2nd, 2023. Another crazy, cranky morning awaits. The moon opposes Mercury at 2:53 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, followed by an opposition to Uranus at 8:10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's unpredictable, especially when it comes to communication or marketing. I'd wait to do business stuff until Venus trines Neptune at 6:42 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This gorgeous aspect is perfect for PR, marketing, and creative work. So actually, it's a good thing, I think, that we started at 6:45 tonight instead of our usual 6:30. Venus trining Neptune, baby. Plus, it's holding court for a few days, so take advantage by making art and noise. The moon moves into a grand trine with this Venus-Neptune vibe at 8:42 p.m., which makes marketing pay off. You could see sweet sales if you can hit social media or send out a newsletter. And yes, folks, the newsletter is coming up, but it probably won't go out until Monday, most likely. Today, Friday, is a power day for Scorpio and a weak day for Taurus. So if you're under the sign of Taurus, or you have a lot of Taurus in your chart, you might be feeling like a not so great day today. All right, let's move on to Saturday. Saturday, the moon is in friendly Sagittarius all weekend, which means it's a great 2 days for business travel, podcasting, marketing, and pitching to publishers. It's also peachy keen for learning. If you want to brush up on your business skills, hit the books. Saturday afternoon has a bit of a push me, pull me energy due to a moon-Saturn square at 1:07 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, followed by a trine to Mars at 2:59 p.m. It will require more effort to push things forward then. You can get your work done, but it won't be easy. The full moon in Sagittarius lights up the sky at 11:42 p.m., bringing hope and clarity. And I already talked a little bit about what the full moon in Sagittarius means. Sunday has a moon Chiron trine at 9:12 a.m., which is dynamite for delivering inspirational talks. If you feel up to it, host a live stream or send out a newsletter pep talk. Mercury conjunct Uranus at 3:49 p.m. provides a burst of brilliance for brainstorming. Also, it's fab for team meetings. Because it hangs around for a few days, you have plenty of time to generate ideas or schedule sit-downs with your team. At 11:24 p.m., the moon squares Neptune and stations void. Let the rest of your day be chill. It is too foggy to get anything meaningful started with the moon squaring Neptune and stationing void. Both days for Saturday and Sunday are power days for Sagittarius and weekdays for Gemini. So at this time, I like to open up the floor for any questions about the astrology or the AstroBiz Digest. Ask basically, is there any particular day that you want to take a look at where you were just like, oh, people were being really funky that day, or this felt strange, or just, want to know an astrological or possible astrological reason why this happened or that happened. Let me know in the chat. I'll give you about a minute, and then we will move on to the main topic for tonight's episode, which is unboxing or revisiting the Steampunk Tarot. And I have it in this bag here. This is not the original bag or the box that it came in. That has been gone. That has been lost to time at this point. I don't think I have the original box that it came in. And I see that I have a couple of my old business cards tucked into this baggie. So that's interesting too. So at about 7:12 my time, we'll move on to the revisiting. And I'm going to start to organize this a little bit, see if I can find some of the majors in here. Found the High Priestess right away, unsurprisingly. The Tower card has no business being that pretty as I'm looking at it. I am going to pull out just the major arcanas for this deck. I don't know if we'll necessarily have any time to go through each of the rest of the tarot deck with the minor arcanas. But this is a fully illustrated pip deck, just to let you know, based on Rider-Waite-Smith symbolism. So if you're a beginner, to tarot and you want to start with an RWS deck, but you don't want to start with a traditional RWS deck, this is considered an RWS clone. So you may be able to work with it without having to go with the more traditional RWS tarot deck. If you jive with it, if you like the steampunk sensibility or theme. Found the hermit. Found the world. Well, in particular, I wanted to look back on the astrology for, I think it was Wednesday night. I heard things were eh. So on Wednesday, the moon squared Venus and stationed void at 10:53 a.m. So it suggests a slow-mo approach, focus on what needs to be finished rather than what you want to begin, and that the public will be cranky and not in the mood to buy. So keep marketing efforts light. Then the moon headed into Scorpio at 7:45 p.m. and it will feel as if everything begins to chug ahead. This lunation is best for research, top secret projects, and handling financial concerns. Intuition is strong too, so trust your instincts 100%, even if they don't make sense. Soon enough, they will. So that was going on for Wednesday. I heard things in my other job that like people were being cranky, and I wasn't there to deal with it. I just heard about the aftermath afterwards. So I'm just like, like I'm not quite sure what was going on with the astrology. So let me look up the astrology for Wednesday night and see if something was going on. And sure enough, the beginning of the day was moon squaring Venus and stationing void. So it favored a slow approach and that the public would be cranky. The incident I think I heard happened maybe after, when things started to ease up a little bit, but I don't know that for sure. But I'm always curious to see if there is an astrological reason why, even though I don't want to ever blame astrology or use astrology as an excuse. All right, so let us move on to, let me pull this up. So we are talking about or revisiting the Steampunk Tarot by Barbara Moore and Ali Fell. Now, I know that this deck came with a companion book somewhere or other. I have no idea where I put it. I have a feeling I know where it is, but I also have a feeling that I probably can't locate it right now. So I can't speak to the how the companion book was or is. Again, it's been a while since I've touched this deck. So I basically wanted to go through the major arcana of this deck, talk to you a little bit of the backs, talk to you a little bit about the card stock. It definitely looks worn because it is worn. I did use it. I have used it with clients before, and it has like this kind of scuffing, if you can see that right there. Has some scuffing on the edges, which not great, but at the same time it is rather normal to have that kind of wear and tear if you are using a tarot deck with the public and with clients. So you kind of can't be, I guess, too precious about your cards sometimes. And sometimes you have to, this is my recommendation that I gave for when we talked a little bit about like tarot readings at parties. I think that was an episode that we did in conjunction with Benevolent Corvus, Sophia, where, sometimes the suggestion is to if you can, get yourself to tarot decks, get yourself two of the same tarot decks if you feel like you're going to be using one privately and then using one publicly in your work or with clients or in public spaces or doing public events. You may want to get yourself a second copy of that deck, especially if that deck is something that you really jive with, because sure enough, like it's going to happen where you're working with the public and someone might spill water on your cards or spill alcohol or wine on your cards and render them useless, or for the trash pile or whatever. And what are you gonna do then? So if you really like a deck, like I would recommend, if you're bringing it for public readings, make sure that you have a backup copy. Because sure enough, sometimes you don't have a backup copy, and that's when the worst happens and the deck ends up getting destroyed. I know that's, and Fran is stating something that I like to reiterate. It's just like, no drinking. Yeah, but there are people that just like set down their glass right on this, right on like my silk cloth, at times, and I'm just like, and I'll move it for them. It's just like, let's keep that away from the cards. But sometimes you just like, that's the joys, the pros and the cons of reading in public. Like, you can't control what other people do, so got to be careful. Or I would recommend making sure that you have a backup duplicate copy of whatever deck it is that you're working with. Yeah, on my holy cloth, evil eye. Yeah, I've done the little like side eye. But you roll with it, or you try to as best as you can, and then you make accommodations when the person like walks away from your table. It's just like, okay, where can I place things where they can place their drink down, but also I'm keeping my cards protected. Because sometimes there's sometimes you get a table or a booth that it's just like you have a lot of real estate there, and you can like put your funky crystals on there. You can make it look mystical or whatever. And then sometimes it's just like a tiny space where it's just only enough room to spread out your cards or do a 3-card spread, So, and if I do have the space on my table, I tend to like expand. And then I end up like finding like a crystal over here or whatever, my water bottles over here. I get a little bit messy sometimes. All right, there's the Empress. So I'm going to talk a little bit about different decks. I'm going to talk a little bit about the Steampunk Tarot as I'm sorting through and separating out the major arcana, because it's right here, my hot little hands. I'll show you the backs. I'll show you different cards as well. So please keep in mind whatever cards you like to see as you're like looking into a deck or looking to purchase a deck. Let me know in the chat, and I will definitely try and find that card for you so I can hold it up for you, and so you can kind of get a sense of what that card looks like in the Steampunk Tarot deck or under the steampunk theme. Oh, there's the Emperor. There's Strength. I do like that Strength card. There's the 4 of Cups with the crossed arms. That's really sweet. Oh, I actually like the Hierophant card in this deck. I never noticed how tranquil that one is. Wheel of Fortune's beautiful. The Star card is really, really pretty, guys. Really, really pretty. Oh, and if I'm remembering correctly, I think I actually got a poster of the Queen of Swords from this deck. So somewhere or other. I might have given it away, though. I don't remember where it is, if I do still have it. But I do have the Queen of Swords. I did have a larger poster of the Queen of Swords from this deck. Lots of gears and corsets, shall I say. Gears and corsets and lamps and smokestacks. And if I may suggest a series that you might want to watch, if you happen to like the steampunk genre, or you happen to like the Steampunk Tarot deck that I'm discussing tonight, watch The Nevers on HBO. Even though it will make you very annoyed, because I feel like the first season is only like the first half of the first season, and I don't know if it's getting picked up for a second season or will be on a different streaming service. Like I don't know. I have no way of knowing, but the way that it left off was a little bit frustrating. So I think I might have gotten the entirety of the major arcana. So now I'm going to sort this. And actually, this is another quick hot tarot tip for all of you. If you're wondering how to reset a deck or cleanse a deck without having to use use like moonlight or sunlight or sage or salt or incense or whatever, put the tarot deck back in the original order. Like literally separate out the majors, put the majors in order, separate out the wands, put the wands in order, one ace through 10, and then page, knight, queen, king. Cups, same thing. Pentacles, same thing. Swords, same thing. And then put your deck together and then shuffle it all up again. That's a great way to reset the energy or cleanse the energy of your tarot deck when you have nothing to hand. Like if you don't have incense or sage or whatever, or put the tarot deck back in order. Quick tip. So I guess I'm kind of resetting this deck. As I'm revisiting it, I'm resetting it. So Chariot comes before Death. Justice comes after Chariot. And feel free to ask me any questions you might have about this deck too, while I'm sorting this out so I can show you the majors in order. That comes after. And that comes before. That comes before. Put those over there. And by the way, if you're wondering, strength is number 8 in this deck, and justice is number 11. It's not the other way around, because some decks will flip strength and justice between 8 and 11. So just to let you know, another quick tip, strength is at number 8 in this particular deck. All right, there's the Emperor. Judgment should be way back there. Empress should be there. Fool should be first. Back there. The Hermit is here. And by the way, the Hermit was today's card of the day. And I'm using the Pulp Tarot another month. So Pulp Tarot was May's deck of the month. It will also be June's deck of the month, because I feel like I've given it short shrift and I want another month with it. So it's not a democracy here at Tarot by Hilary Land. It's a dictatorship, and I say what goes. So we are working with the Pulp Tarot for card of the day pulls for another month, because I say so. Magician. The Lovers. Yeah, I'm just gonna put everything out here. I've got the firsties. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. There's number 2. How can I forget the High Priestess? How can I? So Fran says, I'm loving my Pulp Tarot. Thank you so much for indulging in buying a copy of the Pulp Tarot based on, what I've been doing with it based on everyone, you know, the enablers that show up for these live streams. I love it. I do really love the Pulp Tarot. And I'm wondering, Fran, have you been doing card of the day pulls, and what did you pull today from the Pulp Tarot? And did it fit your day? Let us know. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Where is 12? Hanged Man. There. 12. 13. 14. I just saw the devil. Where's my mechanical devil? Oh, here. 15. 16. 17. 18. 19. 20. 21. We have all of them. Awesome. All right. So Fran says, y'all made me. Yep. But no regrets, right? If you're loving it. And you pulled the Magician. Yeah. And the Magician card, if I'm remembering correctly from the Pulp Tarot, is very much like a stage magician looking guy with like a top hat and everything, right? Did pulling the Magician today make sense for you? Because I'm telling you, the Hermit for today made a lot of sense to me, because I feel myself pulling back. And actually, the depiction of the Hermit card in the Pulp Tarot was super, super interesting, because it's not like a close-up. Like, let me show the Hermit from the Steampunk Tarot, even though we'll get to him, but yeah. So see how the Hermit card is like super close up, like you're right there next to him. For the Pulp Tarot, you're at a distance from him, and it's almost like you're a pilgrim coming up the hill to meet the Hermit on the hill. So you're not quite there yet. He's not quite accessible to you yet. And I found that pulling back of the perspective really changes the interpretation of the Hermit card for me. And that's part of the reason why I love different tarot decks, and how they depict the 78 cards of the tarot, and that energy, especially that archetypal energy of the major arcana. Like seeing the Hermit and being like basically I read from the companion book, and it's just like, you know, he could be wise or he could be a madman. He could be you could need the wisdom that you're seeking from him, or he could be completely insane, and you don't know until you know. You don't know until you actually have that interaction with him. And so it's almost like this invitation for the person pulling that card to be like, are you going to approach him, or are you going to turn back around? Very, very cool. Very, very interesting. All right, so I have the 22 major arcana cards separated and in order from the rest of the deck. I'm not going to put the entirety of this deck in order because we just don't have time for that. I'm looking at the clock. I'm seeing that we're 45 minutes in. And I do want the mid-episode reading to be a true mid-episode reading if people are participating. So I want to be able to get through at least the major arcana, be able to shuffle the major arcana back into the deck, and be able to use the Steampunk Tarot for the mid-episode reading. So those are my intentions for this episode. I also need something to drink very, very badly, because I am parched, and I'm realizing that my water bottle is only this much left. Put it this way, it's very warm out. It's It's very warm out right now, and the sky looks a little bit grayish and a little bit yellowish. So we're waiting for the weather to come on. But until it does, this humidity is not going to break. So I'm like, whew, 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 whew. All right. Permission to go get some water granted. I will take it. I will take the permission slip. But in the meantime, think about which cards you'd like to look at from the minor arcana. If you want to see what the Three of Swords looks like, spoiler alert, it's like a heart, like a gear heart with swords kind of sticking through the mechanism so that the heart doesn't work. So it's like definitely, you know, the steampunky twist on the minor arcana symbolisms from the Rider-Waite-Smith. So but I'm going to take the permission and I'm going to leave everything up and running. I'm not going to do my little be right back video because y'all don't need that. So think about it. I will be right back. And put it in the chat. All right. Bottle is full. It's not cold water, but it's water. So we're good. Hydration has been sated. Okay. So let me show the backs of the major arcana here. The whole deck. It's not different backs for the major arcana. Can you imagine? So you have the different elements represented, the different suits represented, pentacles, swords, wands, and cups. And then behind it, you've got like the gears. So very steampunky, that sensibility. And it's like it's a brownish gold. You can definitely see some scratching on here, but that is from natural wear and tear of this deck, because like I said, I have used this deck with clients before. It has been a while since I've used it with a client or even myself. But that's the reason why I'm revisiting it, because I'm kind of like going through my tarot deck collection and, you know, wanting to see what I want to keep and what I may want to get rid of. So like, keep that in the back of your mind, folks, for some of these videos. I might be putting these decks up for sale. You never know. Or I might just be giving them away. You never know. So, but know that they are well worn, they are pre-used, they are pre-loved. And don't get your hopes up, because I may decide from going through some of these cards or going through some of these decks that it's just like, oh, this is a really great deck. I want to keep it. But most of the decks that I have are not out of print. You can still get them. So at the very least, I will be completely honest about that. If I'm not parting with a deck, I will let you know whether or not it's still available to be purchased or if it's out of print. And if it's out of print, I will do my best to try and direct you in the right direction for possibly getting a copy on your own. Sound good, everybody? I think that sounds fair. Okay, So there's the backs. The cardstock is kind of thin. The publisher, I believe, is Llewellyn. But I do believe this was produced. Oh, let me look up the actual like details on here for you. Let me pull that up. Actually, I'm going to look in my own records and see when was the last time I used this. Don't say it was back in 2015. Might have been. Yep. It looks like the last time I used this for card of the day pulls was 2015. So let me take a look at that. Right on the heels of my wedding. Oh, that's kind of sweet. I kind of want to download that picture. Let's see. Yeah, this is a classic Rider-Waite-Smith deck with a steampunk twist and makes an excellent tarot deck for advanced and beginner students of tarot alike. Let's see if the link actually still works. Yep, still works. Cool. Let's see. So in case we want to twist people's arms again for purchasing things, I believe it's still in stock. It's $31.99 US. And I will put the link into the chat. So if you want to purchase the Steampunk Tarot, you totally can. Llewellyn is the publisher. So that's coming. That'll pop up in the chat in a second. And yes. Yeah. There you go. Llewellyn.com/product. It looks like that's the ISBN number that's at the end there. Let's see. And the cover of the box, so it comes in a box, I believe, with the companion book, I think. And it came out, I believe, in 2012, if I'm remembering correctly. And I think it's one of the cups, actually. One of the images from the cup suit is the cover image for the Steampunk Tarot. So the description of the Steampunk Tarot is as follows from the Llewellyn website. Where the past and future converge. With a turn of the wheel and a spin of the cog, the oracular machinery lumbers into action. The curtains slowly draw back. The time has come to reveal your destiny. Created by award-winning tarot expert Barbara Moore and brilliantly brought to life by artist Ali Fell, the Steampunk Tarot deck offers a glimpse of the future through the lens of the past. Retooling the gears of the Rider-Waite tradition, each card's intricate artwork depicts a scintillating fusion of man and machine, nature and technology, science and alchemy, romance and fashion. And for some reason, it's not allowing me to read more. So, yeah. So not allowing me to read more for some reason. Hold, please. Yeah, so it is a box deck. It does have relatively good reviews, lots of 5-star reviews on the website. Yeah, published in May of 2012. And I believe it says page count 312 pages. So it does have a companion book with it, I believe. Yeah, I'm not quite sure why it won't let me expand on that, but that is the website in case you want to purchase it for yourself, and that is the description. So published by Llewellyn in May of 2012. So let's look at the majors, and then we will break for the mid-episode reading. All right. And I'll do this kind of flashcard style. So we've got the Fool. So the Fool is a chimney sweep. The little white dog is right there. The Magician card is very much like a more traditional ceremonial magician there. And definitely the four suits are represented. The pentacles, he's standing on a pentacle. There's a wand at his feet. There's a sword in his hand. And then there's the cup in his other hand. The High Priestess. I really love that the High Priestess has a crystal ball. She's got the gears. She's got the cogs. She's got the goggles. But then she also has the tarot deck as well. The Empress. I'm going to take down the crawler because it's just bothering me a little bit, and you can't see as much of the deck here. The Emperor. The Hierophant. I kind of like this Hierophant. It feels almost like a more accessible Hierophant than some of the other ones. The Lovers. I kind of like this Lovers with the it's almost like you've got industry versus the industry and like the industrial revolution aspect, and then you've got the nature on the other side. That's pretty cool. I've never noticed that one before. The Chariot. Strength. The Hermit. The Wheel of Fortune. Justice. And again, Justice has jewels on one scale, a feather on the other scale, and then she also has what looks like the tarot cards from this deck falling from her hand too. The Hanged Man. The Death card. Temperance. It looks like Temperance has almost like the gears or water wheels there. The Devil. Mechanized Devil there. Anytime I see this devil from this particular deck, I think of the robot devil from Futurama. The Tower. The Star. One of the prettiest stars I've ever seen. That was a gorgeous star. The Moon. And on one side, you've got the dog. On the other side, you have a cat. And then in the middle is that lobster or crayfish emerging from the water, but it's a mechanized one. Mm-hmm. Hello there. Lenti Ivana. Hello. Fran says, oh, that is nice. About the star card, I agree. Star card is really nice. Okay, so there's the moon, the sun, judgment. So we still have that trumpeting horn iconography, but instead of it being, a blown horn, it's from, oh gosh, I can't remember the name of it. Not a megaphone. And then finally, the world. So what do you think? What do you think of the major arcana of the Steampunk Tarot? Do you like it? Do you not like it? Do you agree with some of the images? Do you agree with some of the depictions? And I'm going to go ahead and shuffle the major arcana back into the deck now that we've gone through each of it in preparation for the mid-episode reading. Actually, what I like to do is shuffle the major arcana before then placing it back in the deck. And placing it face down so I don't know where the cards are going, And I place in like a few at a time. And then I shuffle. And then I place few more in. And then I shuffle again until all of them are shuffled in. All right, should we do the mid-episode reading? So let me take this down, put this up. All right, I'm going to pull up the lottery jar. And how you enter to be considered for a 3-card reading on tonight's broadcast. All you have to do is drop a comment into the chat right now. That comment will then put your image into the lottery jar right there. And then once we have a bunch of people, we will pick a winner. And that winner will get a 3-card reading from me from the Steampunk Tarot right away. That's the mid-episode reading. So go ahead and comment whatever you'd like to, preferably something nice. And your image will drop into the jar. And then we'll pick a winner. So I know that some of our regular viewers are not here tonight. Like I know Katie had a meeting to go to, so she wasn't going to be around to participate. So I know that. But if you are a regular viewer, and even if you got selected last week, or actually no one got selected last week because I didn't do the mid-episode reading last week because I wanted to keep it really short. So anybody is eligible to participate. So go ahead. All right, that's the last of the major arcana slipped in there. And then in order to integrate reversals, take the deck, have it, flip it around, put it back together, and shuffle. So it gets nice and seasoned, nice and shuffled. So Fran is in the jar. Will there be any other takers? Anyone else that can give a run for Fran's money? Oh, I wish it would just rain. Like we were walking home and it was just so sweltering, and then we started to hear rumbling off in the distance and we saw this like gray cloud right over us, and we're just like, oh, it's gonna come down, like hopefully we can get home before it starts raining. And we definitely did, but with plenty of time to spare. This was like a couple of hours ago. So I don't know what's holding it off, but I would really like it for to start because it is warm in here. I don't even know what the temperature is. Let me see. If I find the temperature, I will put it up on screen using one of the other widgets. It feels like more than that. It does not feel like 72 degrees. It feels like more than that. With a 40% chance of rain. High of 87, low of 63. But in about 4 minutes, it said it's going to be 77 degrees. And at 9, oh my goodness. Okay, at 9 p.m., it's supposed to start thunderstorming. If that's to be believed. I'm going to say it's 77 degrees. Oh my goodness, Fran. It's in the 90s in Nashville. Ugh, too much. Like literally, I am feeling the sweat accumulate between my bra straps. It's like, whoo. All right, let's give this another minute or so. Let me put, well, it's a thermometer, but it's not. Outside, not me. I am not 77 degrees Fahrenheit, but oh, cute. We can change it from Fahrenheit to Celsius. That's cool. Whew. For a second there, it looked like 770 degrees Fahrenheit, which would be way too hot. No, no, no. That is not what we were talking about here. Yeah, I'm going to take that thermometer down. Thank you very much. Whew. We do have the sticky notes feature here, too. I like that. I like that there's different, like, widgets and styles. You can duplicate them. It's nice. Anyway. I am going to say contest closes in 1 minute. Let's leave it a minute. I gave plenty of time to explain. Because it looks like it's going to be Fran if there's no takers. And I'm not commenting into the chat, because if I comment into the chat, then it will end up picking my name. And I'm not eligible for the mid-episode reading because I'm the one that's doing the mid-episode reading. So I just need to use a little bit of this Breath of Fresh Air toner from Lush. Oh. Oh. I ended up spraying it right in my eye, but at the very least, my eyes were closed, so it's like a little bit of rose water. It's helpful. Oh, right in under the wire with Lynn coming in. So let's see. Let's see who the winner's going to be. It's 50, you've got a 50-50 shot. So it's either going to be Fran or Lynn for the mid-episode reading. Now, whoever wins the mid-episode reading, please know that we do this most every Friday night, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And whoever wins will go ahead. I will ask them to put their question into the chat, and I will pull 3 cards from the Steampunk Tarot to give them a reading on that particular topic or question. So here we go. Drum roll, please. Let's pick a winner. And it's Fran. Fran, you have won the mid-episode reading. So go ahead and put your question into the chat, and I will pull 3 cards from the Steampunk Tarot, and you will have your reading right now. Yeah, it is nice. I think so too, Lynn. So we do this every Friday night, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and the mid-episode reading happens every Friday night as well, just as a little gift back to the community, also a little way, like a preview of how I work, how I read tarot cards, and if people want a longer reading with me, you can certainly always book one at tarotbyhilary.com. That's www.tarotbyhilary.com. For all of my different tarot reading options, and then also EFT tapping options too, because I am also a tapping practitioner as well, in addition to tarot. In fact, I am planning on releasing yet another tarot and tapping video next Friday. So podcast episodes are coming up. I haven't forgotten about you guys. Tonight's episode that I'm going to be releasing after this episode is over, after the live stream is over, is creating a psychic journal. I just finished listening to that episode and editing that episode, so that should be coming up shortly after we are done with this episode. And then next week's episode is going to be tarot and tapping, in which I give a 3-card reading, and then provide a tapping script for you to follow along, that has both side of hand point and then from crown to wrist together points. And I think the topic of that tapping is, I think, remaining positive or remaining optimistic when things are hitting the fan, or shit is hitting the fan, or everything's happening all at once. And not false optimism, not like fake optimism or fake positivity, none of that stuff. Because tapping kind of sees through that. And the best part about tapping is that the first thing that you do with tapping is, like, you don't immediately go to how you want to feel. You tackle how you are feeling in that moment before tapping through to see to the other side. Like, if I'm anxious about something, I'm not going to say, I'm not anxious about this at all, because that's not true. I'm going to talk about my feelings, and I'm going to say, I'm really anxious about the situation. And I just keep on playing it over and over in my mind. And the more that I do that, the more that I feel like I'm confronted with walls instead of options. And that's really frustrating for me. And it makes me think back to a time in my life where I wasn't given much of a choice in my own life, or my career, or what I wanted to do, or my hobbies. And it made me feel really isolated. And so you just keep on going, and you keep on really, like, talking about your feelings and talk about what's coming up for you, so that you can clear that shit, so that you can see to the other side. So that's a little bit about tapping, and like what it's used for and what it can be used for. So you're not gonna be able to get to the other side or feel differently about something until you acknowledge how you are feeling in that particular moment. So Fran's question is, and I'm going to be shuffling as I read. Due to family strife, my current relationship with my sister is strained. Can it be repaired? And I'm gonna translate that, or reframe the wording a little bit, because that's kind of like a yes or no question, which is fine. You can always ask yes or no questions for the tarot. But what I usually like to do is ask the question so that we can get up like proactive answers. And so instead of can it be repaired, how can I repair it? What can I do to repair it? Or what can we do to repair it? That's kind of like baked into the question that I'm asking the cards. So once again, due to my family strife, my current relationship with my sister is strained. Can it be repaired? How can it be repaired? What can we do to repair it? I'm shuffling. And one more shuffle. And, just intuitively, I'm thinking about you and your sister, and it's just like, this is not the first time that it's happened. And so there is a little bit of a history between you and your sister. Again, this is not what I'm getting from the cards. This is just what I'm getting intuitively as I'm shuffling. So whatever it was that happened previously that created this history, or this history of strife, you're being reminded of that right now in this present moment. And you're also being reminded of what you did that time. Like, what happened that time, and was it ever really repaired from the last time? Do you know what I mean? Was there ever a time where it wasn't strained? Like I feel like this is a past kind of situation, that the straining that's happening is only happening, or more severe or more extreme, because the last time it wasn't really resolved. You may have not spoken about it, but that doesn't mean that it was actually resolved. You just chose not to speak about it, or she chose not to speak about it. Do you know what I mean? Let me know if that jives with you. Now let's pull the cards. I feel like it's not irreconcilable, And I feel like it's just a number of little things, little tweaks that you can do, but there are no big bad cards here. There's no major arcana cards coming up. But I feel like it's almost more of an acknowledgement of that you are two different people. And that you're like, just because you're from the same family does not mean that you're cut from the same cloth. The first card that you're getting, like, I feel like this is kind of a past, present, future spread that I'm doing rather than just like 3 cards and seeing what comes up. But the past influences card, the very first card that's coming up, is the 8 of Cups. And to me, the 8 of Cups is that card about walking away from an emotionally charged situation, or trying to be the better person, or trying to take the high road. Okay. And with the reversal, it's like, it's almost like no matter what you do, no matter how much you try to be the bigger person or the better person, there's just something about this relationship that it's just like, you just get brought down to the worst common denominator. And that's not unusual. And that doesn't make you a bad person. In fact, you know, like I was talking about this in therapy last week, where it's just like some of our family members, we have to unfortunately have surface interactions with them, because if you give any more than that, they will use it as ammunition. And it's really unfortunate to be to that point where you are, you know, this is your flesh and blood, this is your biological family, this is your blood, this is family helps each other, family does things for each other. Like, yes, but also, you know, like, that doesn't give them a free pass. And I know you probably want a deeper relationship with your sister, but you may not be able to have that right now. You may only be able to have a surface conversations, so that the ammunition is not given. Does that make sense? I want to make sure that I'm on the right track here, before I continue the reading. So go ahead and jump in whenever you can. I'll still continue, but I want to make sure that we're on the right track here. But with the 8 of Cups reversed, it's just like, I feel like, and this is again past influences, I think any attempts that you've made to be the bigger person or to try to take the high ground, has just been met with a lot of resistance, and you feel almost baited into a fight. And for a number of reasons. So don't give the ammunition, because, and also I think that also helps to kind of clarify a little bit of my instincts before the cards came out, where it's just like, I feel like this is a reminder of past, you know, like this has happened before. Okay, cool. So I have cut my mother off. My sister is in the middle. Well, here's the thing. Is she in the middle, or is she putting herself in the middle? Or is your mother putting her in the middle? You know, because it's just like, this is between you and your mother, you know, and it's hard. And like, honestly, sometimes when I get readings like this, I'm just like, are you sure this reading is for you and not for me? Because I've had that happen before, where my sister didn't speak to my mom for 2 years, but I did not get in the middle of that, because I knew I just couldn't be in the middle of it. It was a different relationship. And there's that acknowledgement there that it's 2 different relationships, you know, like, you didn't receive the same mother. Yes, you have the same mother, you may have the same mother, but the relationship is not the same. So keeping that in mind, you know. Okay. I believe my mother is pulling her into the middle. My sister won't stand up. So I think that's surface. I think that surface maybe for her than for you. because I feel like if the pulling happens, the pulling is happening because your mother may be inquiring about you to her and she doesn't know what to do, and just, she's fine. But it's hard. It's definitely hard, but that's what you have to do for a toxic family member. Or at least that's the advice from my therapist, straight from my ears through my lips to you. Sometimes the toxicity has to be met with a very surface and very like time designation, where it's just like, I'm only going to be spending this much time. It's just like, they can talk about other things, but that's off limits. you know you and what you're doing is off limits conversation between your sister and your mother. And I know it's very hard. Interestingly enough, the middle card that's coming up, talk about middle, is the Three of Wands. So there is that three. And that feels like the three characters that are in the mix of the situation. And I feel like this figure here, normally I would read this card or read this figure as someone looking to the horizon and looking for a way through or vision or whatever, or like brainstorming, that kind of thing. This feels very much like a fixation on you, like she's not getting what she wants. So she's going to try and gain information about you however possible. Like this feels very like peeping Tom. Notice the binocular from the other shore. But I also feel like there might be, here's the last card. The last card, I think, is more of the solution card here, or how to move forward from this. And it's the Page of Cups, where it's just like, I think there needs to be a frank conversation between yourself and your sister about the situation, and saying like, do you understand? The animosity is not coming from me, and I want this relationship to work. And I want to have a relationship with you, and I want to have a strong relationship with you, but we can't have that if we're not willing to talk about the difficult things. If we're not willing to talk about what led up to this moment, because she can't play peacemaker. It's not, and that it's not even about that. Like I feel like your sister is capable of more than that. But for right now, like, you have to really determine how much information you're willing to give to your sister, because you're not sure how much of that information is being relayed back to your mother. So long story short, long reading short, I believe it can be repaired. Yes, it's strained. I believe it can be repaired, but not without the acknowledgement of the situation that you're not putting your sister in this position. Your mother is putting your sister in this position. And whatever you do, or whatever conversation you have with your sister, as long as it is done with the intention of love, I don't think you can really go wrong. But you may have to have that difficult conversation of, I'm not telling you certain things because I'm concerned that you're playing a mouthpiece, and you're, just going back to our mom and saying all these things. And I can't have that. And I would really like a relationship with you, but I can't have that relationship with you if I feel like you're spying on me for information to bring back to our mother. Does that make sense, Fran? And again, thank you so much for your willingness to put yourself out there and be read, on camera or live to however many people are watching. Like, it's It's very brave. It's very brave, and it's very vulnerable what you're doing, and I appreciate it. And I'm honored, as always, to read for you, and I'm honored, as always, to provide the mid-episode reading for people to see a little bit of how I work and what I do. But yeah, I would say I think it's possible, but you know, it's almost as if your sister is not representing herself each and every time there's a conversation, like it feels like I am here as the ambassador of, and it's just like, yeah, no, like I would like to have a nice brunch with you without feeling like every single thing is being recorded and brought back to be scrutinized, you know. Any other questions or anything surrounding that before we wrap the mid-episode reading? Please rain. I'm just waiting for it to pour. Nice cleansing rain would be great. Wonderful. Nope, that helps. That's what I'm here for, Fran. That's what I'm here for. And of course, like, you have the Pulp Tarot, you have tarot decks of your own. I would definitely ask your decks what I can do, like what can I do, how can I clarify, how can I have this conversation with my sister, but while being compassionate and not like take the bait or rise to the occasion. All right, let me take away the lottery jar. And let's continue with our exploration of the Steampunk Tarot. Is there any particular cards that people want to see? Like, I'm just going to flashcard style it. Like, we've got the 10 of Swords. We've got the 2 of Cups. I kind of like that 2 of Cups, where it has like the yin-yang, the harmony, the combination. 7 of Wands. I already talked about the Justice card, so I'm going to leave her in there. 10 of Cups. She is precious to me. Yeah, that's the reason why you asked the question. You know, if it wasn't the case, I would be like, well, screw her too. You know, like, and I do have that tendency, unfortunately. Like, I will be really cutthroat. I will cut people out of my life. And there is a part of me, or some people have said like, wow, that's really brave of you, or that's really great. You know, like, you have high standard, and I'm just like, you know, sometimes I don't know if that's a great, like, if it's a brave trait or a courageous trait, or just like my defense mechanism, where it's just like, nope, no chances. Like, nope, I'm cutting you off. Like, I'm out the door. So estrangement can be very hard. And I don't think it's talked about often enough. There is a wonderful book that I read called Educated by Tara Westover, which she basically grew up in like a survivalist religion. Like, her father was a survivalist, and she didn't end up going to school until, I think, high school. And she ended up basically getting a degree, and I think getting a doctorate, if I remember correctly. And, you know, writing about, like, basically it's a memoir, and writing about her life, and writing about education, and writing about her family and the abuse that she suffered in her family, and basically having to cut her family out of her life for her own, you know, for her own health. And she said, you know, there's not a, but she did an interview, and she talked a little bit about, like, there's not enough estrangement stories out there. And, you know, people misunderstand, and they think, oh, you're a horrible daughter, or you're a bad person, or you're this or that. And it's just like, Right there, what Fran's saying, it's about boundaries. It is about boundaries. It's, like, there, that sentiment of blood, that blood is thicker than water, but at the same time, it sometimes can be used as an excuse for abuse, and as an excuse for, unconditional love or unconditional abuse. And so it can be very dangerous, that sentiment. So I would recommend reading Tara Westover's Educated, but then I also, recommend more people talking about estrangement and what they've had to do to place those boundaries. Because I mean, like, I've talked about it before, not necessarily on the live stream, but I think I've talked about it in like the Card Slingers Coast to Coast podcast. I think I've talked about it in podcast episodes, or I've written about it, or I don't know. But, I was estranged from my father for 15 years. And while we did end up reconnecting before he ended up passing away unexpectedly, we never really reconciled. And I don't necessarily have any regrets about my own behavior, or I don't have any regrets about the time in which I was estranged from him, because it was something I needed to do. Because it was a very toxic situation. And I'm sure, there are people that are watching this right now that are ready to like tear me down and hate me and say that's not what happened, or, like she's a liar, or she's dramatic, or this and that. And it's just like, say whatever you want, but like, I know the truth, and I know what I lived through, and I know my experience. And I knew that if I continued to have my father, and his subsequent new family in my life, I would probably have ended up not being alive. That's just the bottom line. And the only person that can speak about my experience is me, because I'm the only one that is in my head and I'm the only one that has lived my life and lived my experience. So, I think a lot more people need to talk about, the boundaries they've had to put in place with their family members or friends or whoever, or adopted family. But I know quite a few people that have had to make that decision, and it's very, very hard. And it's not something that I did lightly, but it is something that I think about. So we need more of those stories. We need to know that it's more common than we think, because just because a lot of people aren't talking about it doesn't mean that it's not happening. So anyway, speaking of that, 9 of Swords, 4 of Pentacles. So as you can see, it does have a little glimmer of traditional RWS imagery, but also its own take. So we've got the glittering coin, and we've got like the mechanized hand about to grab it. So a little bit of a different illustrative story going on, but it results in kind of the same energy being depicted for like the 4 of Pentacles. Six of Swords. So instead of a ship, it's a hot air balloon or a Zeppelin. 8 of Wands. Let me know if there's any particular cards that you want me to pull from the minor arcana. 3 of Pentacles. 5 of Wands. 3 of Cups. Ace of Wands. 5 of Pentacles. Two of Swords. Page of Pentacles. King of Swords. Knight of Pentacles. So you definitely get the steampunk vibe, right? Queen of Wands. Ace of Pentacles is really pretty. Two of Wands. King of Wands. Let me definitely show you the Three of Swords. Is it what you imagined from my description? Yes. Yeah, I noticed that too. That queen, the Queen of Wands, gives me Stevie Nicks vibes. Yeah, I got that impression too. So it's the long hair and like the top hat, right? Four of Wands. This is a beautiful one, the Queen of Pentacles. And she's got the pentacle on her fan. Six of Wands, so you've got that ticker tape parade, the triumph parade going on, but instead of a real horse, he's on a mechanized horse. Ten of Pentacles is interesting because it like has a vision. It's almost like she's having a vision, like she's got the card, but the vision is of like the Ten of Cups. Isn't that cool? Very meta. I see. And the Queen of Cups is the this is the cover of the steampunk box. The Queen of Cups. Showed you the Queen of Swords before. Six of Pentacles. Nine of Wands. Nine of Cups. All right. Those are selected images, cards from the Steampunk Tarot by Barbara Moore with art by Ali Fell. I'm going to shuffle this up again. Any other questions about the Steampunk Tarot deck? Again, you can purchase it on the Llewellyn website. You can actually go on to like the main website, llewellyn.com, and search by keyword and search steampunk. You should be able to find it. And by the way, there are multiple steampunk decks, tarot decks that are out there. The one that I'm referring to for this video is the one that is published by Llewellyn, and the artwork is by Ali Fell, and the companion book is by Barbara Moore. That is the one that I'm referring to. Like, yes, it does have a little foxing on its edges from wear and tear. Yes, the cardstock is fairly thin, but is it a good deck? Is it usable? Absolutely. And do people tend to like it if they like steampunk? Yeah, absolutely they do. So again, this might be one of the decks that doesn't speak to you because you're not into the steampunk thing. But just because you aren't, like, it's still a usable deck. You'd be surprised. And actually, let me just spoil perhaps one of the upcoming episodes that we're going to do. But Mr. Tarot by Hilary suggested it, and I nearly did it for tonight's episode. Then I realized I have to gather a bunch of decks in order to do that particular concept that he was talking about. But he was talking to me. It's just like, why don't you do an episode on novelty decks, like the Nightmare Before Christmas deck, like the Game of Thrones tarot, like the Disney Villains tarot deck. And I'm just like, well, I've done unboxings of those. He was just like, yeah, but that's not what I mean. Like, why don't you pull together a bunch of them and like talk a little bit about novelty decks and whether or not they work, and just talk about novelty decks in general. And I'm just like, okay, yeah, that sounds like a good idea. So that may be an upcoming episode. And if that sounds groovy to you, let me know in the chat. I will also let Mr. Tarot by Hilary know, so he can get a little pat on the back for suggesting that topic himself. And I think we are ready for the weekend forecast. So if people want an oracle deck, say oracle. If people want a tarot deck, say tarot deck. I will, again, usually do what I want. But I will monitor the chat, and I will try and accommodate a majority rule in this case. And let me find the crawler. Now I've got a Silver Spring stuck in my head. Time has a spell on you, but you won't forget me. All right, Francine, let Lynn pick. Lynn, what would you like, tarot or oracle, for the weekend forecast? Which is mighty big of Fran, but Fran had the mid-episode reading, so I can understand why she's saying, let Lynn pick. All right. Lynn is saying oracle, so I'm actually going to go with the Super Attractor affirmation cards. I consider it an oracle deck. Yes, it's affirmations, but it's also oracle. So let's go with the Super Attractor and see what we have in store this weekend, besides the astrology that we talked about from the AstroBiz Digest at the top of the episode. And if you're wondering, what the heck is that, Hilary? You'll have to go back once there's the replay. Once we're done with this episode, you can go back and you can watch the replay. Oh, good. Fran says, that was my oracle. Well, that was going to be my pick too. All right. Well, we're all on the same page then. So pretty cool. Don't you just love how that works? All right. So shuffling up the Super Attractor deck. By the way, the Super Attractor deck is from Gabby Bernstein with artwork by Michaela Ezra. And we're just going to shuffle and basically ask, what do we most need to know this weekend? What affirmation do we need to hold in our hearts as we go about the weekend? I will talk a little bit about what's going on for my weekend, depending on which affirmation card comes up and how applicable it is. Let's see. Let's stop there. Interesting. All right, I'm going to pull another one. I mean, the first one is pretty dang good, but I got to pull a second one. Doubly interesting. Okay. Both of the cards I pulled fit, so I'll tell you. But first, I'll tell you the cards. All right. So the first card that came up is, I can do less and attract more. I can do less and attract more. Feel that, take that in, take that energy in, especially if you feel like you're getting all of your errands done this weekend and you're rushing around. Take a deep breath. I can do less and attract more. Don't drive yourself crazy this weekend with a running to-do list. And when you do, stop and breathe and remember what Hilary's saying. I can do less and attract more. That's number one. Number two, when I'm tuned into the energy of abundance, I become abundant. When I'm tuned into the energy of abundance, I become abundant. So, number one, number two. Camera one, camera two. Both are very, very applicable to me right now because we're having to move. So we were planning on sorting through some stuff this weekend. And yeah, like that whole thing, like what Fran's saying, so hold down the sofa. Like, yeah, I guess, but like take breaks and like give yourself some space and some grace, like while you're trying to burn through your to-do list. So that's kind of how I'm interpreting it. And Fran is also saying, I feel called out. Good, because so do I. Welcome. I mean, like, you guys know, like some of you who've been watching this live stream for a while now, keep in mind that we've been doing this in August. It's going to be 4 years. It's going to be 4 years of me doing this every Friday night at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So that's a long time. So for some of you who've been here from the very beginning, like I know that you delight and revel in when I get called out by my own cards. And so, you know, like right back at you. If you're feeling called out, like most of the time, I'm also called out too. And you've seen it live on these broadcasts. So, yeah, it's bound to happen. Now, for those of you who haven't been here that entire time, maybe half of that time, you've also seen me get called out by my own cards. And if you're just new here, if this is the first time you're watching, catching the live or catching the replay, like, let me just tell you, I get called out a lot by my cards. Yeah. It happens. It's a phenomenon that happens with many, many tarot readers, cartomancers, psychics. You know, like sometimes when we give readings to the public, we also are receiving that energy back in turn and receiving that reading back in turn, if it's applicable. If it's applicable to us, like we'll remember it. You know, it's not necessarily that we'll remember your reading, but we will remember the portions of your reading that are also for us. It's pretty cool and pretty annoying at the same time. So remember that this weekend. Remember both of them this weekend. When I'm tuned into the energy of abundance, I become abundant and I can do less and attract more. Because some of it's going to be feeling into the energy and some of it is just going to be, you know, looking at your to-do list and being like, I didn't get even half of these things done and not feeling bad about it. Like sometimes we've got to pare down our to-do list to the top 3 things and then be okay with just getting those top 3 things done. Some days you will only get 1 thing done, and that's going to be an enormous effort, but you have to not beat yourself up about it. We have to have compassion and grace for ourselves. That's the only way to really get through life. And humor, lots and lots of humor and sacred silliness as well. So that is your weekend forecast for this weekend. Take it however you want to, even if you're watching this replay and it's not, you know, June 2nd or 3rd or 4th of 2023, even if you're seeing this 5 years from now and you find these messages to be resonant, then that means that this message is for you. And that's part of the reason why I've started to do my card of the days in the last couple of months, saying like, if this is coming up in your feed, this message may be for you. That's the reason, because that's the weird thing about tarot sometimes, or about divination. It is not just on that date that we give the reading or put the card of the day out there. whatever it's coming up for you, if it's resonant for you, if it's meaningful for you, if it's like, that's the exact message that I needed to hear right then and there, the date doesn't matter. As long as the message is there for you at the time and the place and the space that you need it. That's all that matters to us. That's all that matters to us most of the time, is helping you and helping humanity through the magic and power of readings and connecting you with your own intuition. So, put shower on your list. Yes. Yes. Oh, by the way, the new place that we got, it has a tub. I'm very happy. It's a small thing. But we've had a walk-in shower for the last 7 years. And I am ecstatic that I'm going to have a tub again. Oh my goodness. I'm just so excited about it. So excited. So, you're very welcome, Lynn. Thank you so much for tuning in. All right. That's it, guys. That's it. That's the weekend forecast. That's tonight's episode. Depending on my schedule for next week, we may not have an episode next week. I will really have to look because I've got important appointments coming up that I may need to just forego the live stream. This is the reason why I say most Friday nights, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But sometimes I can't do it. I got to rearrange my schedule. So we may not have a live stream next week, but you will definitely have a new episode next week because I will make it my business to pre-record something and put it up for you. So exactly. It's not necessarily taking time for me. It's just, we may need to schedule an appointment in order to be able to, get this apartment. So it's important. We need a place to live. It's important that we need to schedule this appointment. So anyway, thank you all so much for watching. Whenever you're watching, if you watch live, thank you very much. If you're watching the replay, also thank you very much. So appreciate it. I can't do it without you guys. I can't do it without an audience. So once again, I am Hilary, professional tarot reader and EFT tapping practitioner, demystifying the mystical and putting you in touch with the most beautiful of gifts, your own intuition. Because yes, my friends, do not argue with me. You have intuition. Hopefully, I will see you next week. If not, you will get a pre-recorded episode. And please be on the lookout for the newest episode of the Tarot by Hilary podcast on creating a psychic journal. I will be posting that sometime this evening. Good night.